This time, if your m is less than n, so mas mababa na ngayon yung number ng value ng m than n. So if that is the case, then we'll end up to a negative exponent. But once you've seen a negative exponent in your answer, that means your answer is not yet in simplified form. An IGOP day to all of you, my dear students. Bakit IGOP? Because IGOP is synonymous to beautiful. It's a beautiful day. It is because you are going to learn again something new about math. So we are now going to continue our discussion. So we are now on lesson number 8 for the second grading period. So what are we going to discuss today? So lesson number 8 will focus our discussion on negative exponents. So here, we are now going to encounter negative exponents. So ano ba ang kailangan gawin when you encounter negative exponents? So what we are going to learn in this, what are we going to learn in this topic? So when there is a negative exponents, so that means that expression involving negative exponent is not yet in simplified form. So unless you make that negative exponent positive. So paano gagawin mo? So later on, malalaman natin kung paano ba natin sinisimplify yung expressions involving negative exponents. So also, aside from simplifying negative exponents, papasukan ulit natin yan ng application of the laws of exponent because it's not always na ang given example natin ay focus lang on the negative exponent. Kasi sabay-sabay yan minsan ginagawa. So, aside from involving negative exponents sa mga expressions na given natin, so bibigyan din tayo ng mga expressions na pwede nating masimplify with the use of the different laws of exponents. Just like what we did on discussing zero exponents. So, ganun din yung gagawin natin yung discussing negative exponents. So, bakit nga ba tayo nagkakaroon ng negative exponents? So, recall ulit natin yung quotient rule natin. Kasi there are three conditions in quotient rule. Yung una, if m is greater than n. The second one is if m is equal to n. That's why nagre-result tayo ng zero exponent. And the third one is quotient rule where m is less than n. So this time, what if your exponent of the numerator is smaller than the exponent on the denominator? So how are we going to simplify that expression? So with the application of the quotient rule, di ba ginagawa natin, we copy that same base, copy the base, then we subtract the exponent. So ganun din naman yung gagawin natin. So kaya kapag ginawa natin yon, we'll end up with a negative exponent. So parang ganito. So if you do have the same base, if you are dividing expressions with same base, this time, if your m is less than n, so mas mababa na ngayon yung number ng value ng m than n. So if that is the case, then we'll end up to a negative exponent. But once you've seen a negative exponent in your answer, that means your answer is not yet in simplified form unless you make that negative exponent positive. Paano? That is by simply getting its reciprocal. So kukunin mo lang yung reciprocal niya. Paano sinasabi natin reciprocal? So you are just going to interchange the position of the numerator and the denominator. So parang dito, so magkakaroon ka ng negative answer. So if you want to make it positive, so you're just going to get the reciprocal. So magiging negative answer over 1 yun. Then when you get the reciprocal, that would be 1 over x raised to n minus m. So automatically, when you get the reciprocal of that expression with negative exponent, so yung exponent niya magiging positive na. So ganun na yung mangyayari. So it's just like we applied getting the reciprocal of it when we simplify expressions or when we simplify expressions involving negative exponent. So mamaya, two examples, i-explain natin kung paano ba natin gagawin positive yung negative exponent or paano natin masisimplify yung expressions which involves negative exponent. So anong kailangan nating tandaan? What is it that we have to take note in negative exponents? So sabi dito, in negative exponents, we have to take note that a term or an expression with negative exponent is not yet simplified unless you make the exponent positive by getting its reciprocal. So, ganun daw yung kailangan. We need to make that exponent positive for us to simplify that expression involving negative exponent, whether if that expression is a term or if that is the whole expression involving both constant and variables or an expression itself. So kapag ganun yung given natin na may involved na negative exponent, you still have to make that negative exponent positive by getting its reciprocal. So paano nga ba natin gagawin yon? So let's try that through example. So let's have example number 1 here. So in example number 1, we do have the given x is raised to negative 2. So as you can see, if you come up with an answer which is x raised to negative 2, that means your answer is not yet simplified. So that means it's not yet the final answer unless you make that exponent positive. How? Sabi kanina, on a thing that we have to take note, so kailangan natin kunin yung reciprocal niyan. So, yung x raised to negative 2, in fraction, that will be the same as x raised to negative 2 over 1. So that's over 1. So when you get this reciprocal, meaning to say you're just going to interchange the position of both numerator and denominator. So ibig sabihin, the numerator, the x raised to negative 2 will become now the denominator. Then the 1 which is on the denominator part will become the numerator. So if you get the reciprocal of a term involving negative exponent, automatically its exponent will become positive. So that's why when we simplify x raised to negative 2, it will be the same as 1 over x squared. So pinagpalit lang natin ng position, yung numerator and denominator. But once we do that, automatically, yung exponent na negative magiging positive na. So that's a way for us to make that negative exponent positive. So that is also a way in order for us to simplify expressions involving negative exponent. So let's try another for us to understand it more clearly, or for you to understand it more clearly. So number 2, a raised to negative 5 over b raised to negative 3. So if you're going to look at the given expression, both numerator and denominator has negative exponent. So that means that is not yet simplified unless we make that negative exponent positive by getting its reciprocal. So all you have to do if that is the case is for you to interchange the position of the two of the numerator and denominator. So this a raised to negative 5 will, if you are going to, if you want to make a negative 5 exponent positive, you have to put it on the denominator part. On the other hand, this exponent, this b raised to negative 3, if you want to make this exponent positive, you have to put it on the numerator part. So, ganun lang. Kapag yung exponent mo na negative nasa numerator, lagay mo siya sa denominator. If your exponent na negative is on the denominator, lagay mo siya sa numerator for you to simplify it or for you to make that negative exponent positive. So that's why when we simplify example number 2, it will be the same as b cubed over a raised to 5. So ang ginawa, pinagpalit lang yung position ng dalawa. So once you get the reciprocal, automatically the exponent will become positive. Sunod. So hopefully nakasunod doon. So para mas maintindihan pa o mas makasunod pa lalo, so let's try another example. So example number 3, we do have there 5 over y raised to negative 2. So in that example, the one with the negative exponent is in the denominator part. Sabi natin, di ba? If you want to make that expression, the term or a term with a negative exponent, positive exponent, with a positive exponent, so all you have to do is to interchange its position. So if it's on the denominator part, you have to move it on the numerator part. Pag nasa numerator, kailangan mong ibaba. So since 5 does not have negative exponent, so 5 will stay on the numerator. So since y was raised to negative 2 as the exponent, so yung y lang with raised to negative 2 o mapupunta on the numerator part. So pag napunta yun doon, automatically the exponent will become positive. And this time, mawawala ng term dito sa baba. So the term now on the denominator part is already 1. So that once simplify, when we simplify 5 over y raised to negative 2, it will be the same as 5y squared. So inangat lang natin to. Y raised to negative 2, inangat natin. So naging katabi na siya nung 5 this time. So it will be 5y squared. So nakuha yung number 3. So let's try another. Let's have here example number 4. So in example number 4, similar to example number 2 kanina. Yun nga lang, ang kaiba niya is that both variable term here are the same. They have the same base. They do have the same base. Not unlike number 2, they do have different bases. So dito, they have the same base. So ang ginagawa natin, sabi natin, if you want to make this negative exponent here positive, all we have to do is to interchange their position. So by the way, the given is z raised to negative 6 over z raised to negative 9. So ang mangyayari, pag ginawa natin positive yung exponent na negative, magiging z raised to 9 na nasa taas. So since na dalipat na natin siya on the numerator part, or on the numerator, tama, so magiging positive na siya. And on z raised to negative 6, we will move it to the denominator part. So magiging z raised to 6 na siya ngayon. So magiging z raised to 9 over z raised to 6. But since both of them have same base, so we are going to apply a quotient rule. So kailangan natin i-apply yung quotient rule because that expression is not yet in simplified form. So even though natanggal na natin a negative exponent, but still, yung nakuha nating answer is not yet in simplified. It's because we do have there dividing expressions with same base. So magiging z. So just copy the base z, then subtract their exponent. So magiging 9 minus 6 now, it is equal to 3. So that the answer to number 4 when we simplify is z cubed. So that's how we answer example number 4. So hopefully naintindihan yung first 4 examples. So para mas maintindihan pa natin ng sobra-sobra, so let's try more examples. Let's try here example number 5. So the given here is 5 squared over x squared y cubed quantity raised to negative 4. So meron tayo yung negative exponent here. So pwedeng ang gawin natin in two ways. So pwedeng i-distribute muna natin itong exponent na to in each of the factors on the denominator part, dun sa factors ng denominator part. So pwedeng gawin natin yun with the application of power of a product rule and power rule. So pag ginawa natin yun, magiging negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Or pwedeng gawin natin, reciprocal na natin kaagad ito. Na pag nireciprocal natin yung buo, magiging positive na exponent sa saka natin i-distribute. Pwedeng ganun yung gawin natin. So, in the case, pwede naman both na madali lang din naman kahit gamitin natin kahit ano doon. So, 4 times negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Then, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So, both of them have negative exponents. So, ibig sabihin, you just have to put it on the numerator part. So, yung 5 squared, since hindi negative yung exponent niya, so, it will stay as it is. So, yun nga lang, since your base is a constant, so you still have to simplify it. So, what is 5 squared? That is using 5 twice as factors. That's 5 times 5. That would be 25. Then you just have to put this x raised to negative 8 and y raised to negative 12 na distribute natin to on the numerator part to make that exponent positive. So that will end up to the simplified form of it as 25 x raised to 8 y raised to 12. So that's how we answer example number 5. Any question on number 5? Baka meron naguluhan sa inyo dyan. So better ask that question right away so that we can answer it right away. Any questions? So if none, so let's answer more examples. So let's have now example number 6. So in example number 6, we do have there the given is 10x raised to negative 4, y raised to negative 5, quantity raised to negative 3, all over 5. So there, you do have negative exponent inside and you do have negative exponent outside. So, the first thing we are going to do is to first apply a power of a product rule and power rule. That is by distributing first this negative 3 exponent in each of the factors inside and multiplying this exponent to the exponent in the inside with the application of the power rule. So pag ginawa natin yon, magiging 10 raised to negative 3. Ito yon, 10 raised to negative 3. Then x raised to 12, y raised to 15. So positive na ngayon yon kasi we are multiplying both negative. Ang negative na lang ngayon is the exponent of 10. So sa madaling salita, ang gagawin lang nating positive na exponent ay yung 10 na raised to negative 3. So anong gagawin natin? We just have to put 10 raised to negative 3 on the denominator part together with 5. So we are going to multiply it now since meron tayong term on the denominator. That 10 raised to negative 3, pag ginawa natin, pag nilagay natin siya on the denominator part to make that exponent positive, magiging 5 times 10 raised to 3 na siya. So wala tayong gagalawin sa numerator because both x and y there together with their exponent are already positive. So dito na tayo, 10 raised to 3. What is 10 raised to 3? That is using 10, 3 times as factors. That is 10 times 10, that would be 100, times 10, that would be 1,000. So 1,000 yon, times 5, you come up with 5,000. That's why for number 6, the correct answer is, when we simplify that expression, is x raised to 12, y raised to 15 over 5,000. So kasi dito, naging positive na yung exponent niya. So no need for us to put this 2 on the denominator part because when we apply this exponent here in multiplying its exponent on the exponent inside, so naging positive na yung exponent. Then it will be over 5,000. Next. So that's how we answer example number 6. Hopefully this time medyo na naintindihan na natin on how to answer example number 6 or how to simplify expressions involving negative exponents. So let's try another example. So we do have here example number 7. So example number 7, the given is 3a raised to negative 3, b raised to negative 4, quantity raised to 2 over 3. So ito naman, yung exponent outside is positive. That's why when we distribute it on each terms of the factors, so ang mangyayari, magiging negative pa rin yung mga exponent na to. So pag ginawa natin yon, applying again power of a product rule and power rule, so distribute muna natin. So that would be 3 squared. Magiging dito, then 2 times negative 3 with the application of power rule, that's negative 6. 2 times negative 4, that would be negative 8. So negative 6 and negative 8, ito 3 squared, since hindi naman negative exponent, so mag-stay siya sa numerator part. So 3 squared, when simplified, is 9. So 9 ang meron ka sa numerator. Then this A and B, since parehas negative yung exponent nila, nang in-apply natin yung power rule, so we will put it on the denominator part. So A raised to negative 6 and B raised to negative 8, magpupunta sa denominator part. So magiging kasama niya na yung 3. So magiging 3a cubed ay 3a raised to 6, b raised to 8. At sa numerator ay 9. Eh kung 9 yon, 9 is exactly divisible by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 3 ang may iwan on the numerator part, then on the denominator part, yung positive exponent of this a raised to negative 6 and b raised to negative 8. So that will have the answer to number 7 as 3 over a raised to 6, b raised to 8. So that's how we answer example number 7. So naintindihan ba example number 7? So sana. So next, let's try another example. Let's have example number 8. So for example number 8, I guess this is already the last example. So for example number 8, so the given is 2a raised to 4, b raised to 2, c raised to 7, quantity raised to negative 5 over 5d raised to negative 6. So paano yon? May negative exponent tayo on the outside. So katulad yung ginawa natin sa mga last example natin, so didistribute natin ito in each of the factors inside. So magiging 2 raised to negative 5 here, then 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, 7 times negative 5 is negative 35, over 5d raised to negative 6. So negative yung exponent ng mga variables na nasa numerator, negative din yung variable na nasa denominator. So pagpapalitin natin siya ng pwesto. Together with this 2 raised to negative 5, kasama yon. So pag binaba natin yon, ang mapupunta na sa numerator ay yung d raised to negative 6 na kapag napunta doon, magiging automatically positive yung exponent. So magiging d raised to 6 na lang yung nasa numerator. Over yung 2 raised to negative 5, pag binaba natin, magiging 2 raised to 5. And 2 raised to 5 is not yet simplified unless we expand it and we find the value of 2 raised to 5. So 2 raised to 5 is 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 times 2, 32. So 32 yon, since yung 5 is on the denominator pa, so 32 times 5, you'll come up with 100. What's that? 32 times 5, that's 160. So 160 na nasa denominator, then bababa mo yung lahat na to, negative 20, so a raised to 20, negative 10, b raised to 10, negative 35, so c raised to 35. Then d raised to negative 6, papunta sa numerator na d raised to 6. So that for number 8, the correct answer when we simplify it is d raised to 6 over 160, a raised to 20, b raised to 10, c raised to 35. So that's how we answer example number 8. I hope so naintindihan na on how to simplify expressions involving negative exponents. So that